Today on the roster countdown, we've reached two key components to Alabama's potential success this year.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson, that's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein, that's him. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. We'll talk about Monarch Money in just a little bit. I want to thank you, everydayers, for being here every day. Thank you, newbies, for being here today. And thanks, everybody, for making this your first listen every single day. You guys are the best. Also want to say, if you are an everydayer, then on yesterday's podcast, you heard us say, hey, we hope to have a special guest. Well, that special guest will be on tomorrow's show. And that'll be one Bear Fretwell, who is Alabama's latest commitment. We are thrilled to death to have him on this program, and can't wait to talk to him. We're going to have him on the first segment of the show next podcast after this one. So get through this one with much anticipation for the next podcast. But today we're going to start off with the roster countdown, and we are going to be talking about a couple of offensive linemen today. The order may surprise you a little bit. But you know what? I think Jimmy's going to sell me on the order because I thought he was wrong at first. I think Jimmy may be right. Jimmy, number 4 on the roster countdown.
Kadyn Proctor, I have as the 4th best player on this team. And he hasn't been the 4th best player at Alabama yet. Some of this is projection, but it's projection based on logic when you think about Kadyn Proctor's career. And I know some of you all have seen all the mock drafts that have Kadyn Proctor going in the top 10. I saw one mock draft that had Kadyn Proctor going number 1 overall. But he's been in just about every first round, mostly top 10. And I'm sure some Alabama fans are out there scratching their heads going, he hasn't played like a top 10 pick. That's true. He hasn't yet, but there are logical reasons for that and logical reasons to assume he might this fall. Let's remember, in true freshman season, didn't have a spring practice, didn't show up till this summer, shows up, he's a little heavy. He won the left tackle job anyway as a true freshman at Alabama on an SEC championship ball club. He's the starting left tackle as a true freshman, though he was overweight and not in SEC playing shape. So, of course, there were struggles at times. Now you go into year 2 and like, okay, well, now he's in great shape. Now Alabama's strength and conditioning staffs worked with him for a while. Missed spring practice again because that was the spring he was up at Iowa. Didn't participate in Iowa spring practice either, really. Now he's had no spring, but he is in shape and he is experienced and he's going into his year 2. And what happens? Tears up his shoulder in pregame warmups for the first game. His shoulder was so bad, folks, that the moment his season ended last year, boom, he's off to surgery to repair that shoulder he played with all season long. So the point is, this fall, 4 weeks from now, for the first time ever at Alabama, we're going to see Kadyn Proctor in shape and experienced and healthy. He's never been any of those 3 things all together. I think that's why it is logical to have the expectation that, wow, this is a blow-up year coming from him. He's going to go from this kid has all the potential in the world to this kid is the best left tackle in the SEC. That could happen this fall if he remains healthy because he is in good shape. I know people see his weight and they say, gosh, he's listed 366. There's no way he's in good shape. Kadyn Proctor is not built like a normal human being. He's built like Orlando Brown in the NFL. He's just absolutely massive. He's carrying his 366 great. If you saw him at SEC Media Days, did he look sloppy to you? No, he's just big. I don't worry about his weight one bit. And by the way, if he is 5 or 6 pounds overweight, he's going to lose that in the first hour of the first practice on Wednesday. So
he's going to lose that by flossing his teeth. I mean, he's just a big dude.
Yeah, 366. Some of that weight comes off really easily, just like it's just different than our normal. People listen to the show that weigh in the hundreds, weigh in the 200s. 366 just a different beast. But I think Kadyn Proctor is going to play, should he stay healthy, like an all-SEC player, an all-American player, and I fully expect to see him as the highest drafted player off this Alabama team. We do have him 4th. We have another offensive lineman 1 spot ahead of him. We'll talk about him in the next segment. And the reason that Caden is behind him, even though I'm saying Caden's going to be a top 10 pick, is because to this point in his career, Caden hadn't played as well as the other guy. I think the other guy's been a better player on the field to this point, but I would guess that Caden sort of passes him up this year. Again, first time being experienced, healthy, and in great shape.
Yeah, and everybody can probably figure it out if you're a big enough Alabama fan. If you're an everydayer, for sure, you can figure out who the next guy's going to be. I'm not going to spoil it. Even just wait a couple of seconds. But at first I was thinking, Jimmy's got this kind of wrong. I mean, I wouldn't go the other way. I get, but I think you're right. I think at the end of the season, Caden Proctor may actually be number 1 on this list.
Correct. And
not only might he be number 1, he might be like the number 1 pick in the draft, as you say. In fact, I'm trying to look up an NFL mock draft right now. I
strongly considered ranking Caden number 1 just based on the fact that I think he will be a top 10, top 15 type pick and the highest drafted player off this team. I considered putting him number 1 for that reason, but I didn't, because the player we've seen on the field hasn't been that good yet. And I don't like this list being a projection or a guess. I like this list being more like based on what we've seen on the field or the practice field or what we've heard from inside the program. This is how good these guys are today. But I agree with you, Luke. I think if we did this ranking again at the end of this season, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Caden was number 1, even ahead of the guy everybody knows who's going to end up being number 1. I think it's not really going to be a shock.
So I just pulled up one mock draft very quickly, and it has Caden Proctor going number 9 to the Browns, which makes me throw up in my mouth a little bit. Look, I want Cleveland. By the way, apropos of nothing, I would love to see a Super Bowl with Cleveland and Detroit, because I think that would be the biggest party this country's ever seen, the biggest party that this entire continent and the one below us has ever seen outside of Carnival. So I think it'd be incredible.
There'd be a lot of overturned cars after
and on fire.
On fire after a Cleveland-Detroit Super Bowl. That would do it. In Detroit, as we'll see Thursday night, Detroit. As a matter of fact, I'm sort of picking them. We don't really do NFLers, but I have the Lions and the Ravens.
Oh, God. Dude. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs against Derrick Henry. Yeah, I think we can all – J-Mo and Marlon. Yeah, I think we can all get behind that. Now, here's the thing and again, apropos of nothing, but –
I do not have the Browns in the Super Bowl. I have the Browns with the first pick in the draft again.
But no, I'm saying in this mock draft, it also has T.J. Parker, Caleb Downs, and Peter Woods going ahead of Caden Proctor, which means 2 dudes from Alabama and 1 dude who was at Alabama and transferred out. So this class, I mean, like in a perfect world, this draft would have Caleb Downs, Caden Proctor, Peter Woods, and T.J. Parker in it for Alabama. And I don't give a dang. The Browns nor the Lions would be able to stop us with that crap.
Yeah, Peter Woods and T.J. Parker, we're going to be reminded of it all season long because they're 2 of the best defensive linemen, 2 of the best players in college football. T.J. Parker and Peter Woods. We're going to be reminded all fall about how Alabama. People are going to say drop the ball. You recruit a kid as hard as you can, and Alabama recruited Peter Woods as hard as they could, and he chose something else. I don't fault Alabama. I don't fault Peter Woods. He just chose something else. Now, T.J. Parker, believe it or not, to me, Alabama's more at fault here, because I don't think they properly prioritized T.J. Parker. I think there was some question about schematic fit with him, and now we end up in a completely different scheme. And, of course, the kid's grown significantly, as you knew he would. I think if Alabama dropped the ball and people want to be mad online, I think T.J. Parker is a little more – because Alabama didn't give the full 100% effort there, but they recruited Peter Woods as hard as they possibly could. He just chose somewhere else.
Also, weirdly, I looked up another mock draft while you were talking, and the last one had Caden Proctor going number 9 to the Browns. This one has him going number 10, but also to the Browns. Like Caden Proctor's like, oh my God, can I stay in school another 4 or 5 years until they cycle this out?
Just go ahead and move. Just go ahead and move to Cleveland, Caden. They're not letting you out. They're not letting you out of this. They're not letting you out of this deal. You know, the weird thing is he probably grew up. I mean, geography's not my, but he couldn't have grown up too far from Cleveland in Iowa. It's probably 6 or 8 hours.
Good ways from Cleveland.
Well, 6 or 8 hour drive. It's a day drive.
I'm going to look that up in a minute, but I feel like your geography isn't great.
Yeah, I might be way off, but I'm thinking 6 or 8 hours.
Only like a 12-hour drive from here. It ain't that big a deal. So.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sorry.
That could be way off.
I didn't think on today's podcast.
Not a 24-hour drive.
How far is it from Iowa to Cleveland? So, by the way, if you're ever going from Iowa to Cleveland, then you might want to look up Monarch Money.
Yeah, don't ask me.
Try to get a better job. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one little old place. So in addition to managing your money, in addition to that, you're also building wealth. That's like double. You know what I mean? Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com. Oh, my goodness. That's code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year with Monarch Money. So, Jimmy, now we're to that mysterious guy we were just about to talk to, and that is number 3 on your list, who is?
Parker Brailsford, number 3 player on this team. And boy, some people might be surprised by that, but let's remember Parker Brailsford was an all Pac-12 player before he even came to Alabama. And then last year performed really well. I think over the course of the season, from beginning to end, Parker Brailsford was the most consistent and best offensive lineman on the team. And I do realize the guy next to him, Tyler Booker, was, a top NFL pick and is now a Dallas Cowboy. I think Tyler Booker was the most dominating Alabama offensive lineman, but Parker may have been the most consistent, snap to snap, getting the job done. He's actually really good in pass protection, doesn't give up a whole lot of QB pressures despite the size. But Parker will now be entering his 3rd year as a starter. It's his 4th year in college football. His 3rd year as a starter for Kalen DeBoer. He's now been indoctrinated fully into the SEC, knows what's coming. He knows what's to expect. He's a leader on the team. Though he is a redshirt junior, most expect him to go pro. That's my expectation, just simply because I think the knock on Parker in terms of the next level is going to be, well, he's not the biggest guy. Well, you're probably not going to fix that year 4 to year 5. It's not like he's going to come back the next year and be a significantly bigger person. So I'm guessing he just takes whatever his NFL stock is after this year and being a 3-year starter. That's a guess. I would hope he comes back because, again, he's an all SEC level player. Now, will he be all SEC? The SEC is weirdly really deep with good centers. I think Florida's kid is a top NFL prospect for the center spot. So the NFL, stock probably day 2, which is typical, for interior linemen to begin with. I'd say day 2 because of the position and because he is a little undersized. But who cares? In terms of a college football player, Parker Brailsford is just about as good as centers get. He will have a strong case through things like Pro Football Focus to prove that he is the best center in college football in a loaded year for centers nationally. So a leader on the team, a great kid. I'm just excited to see about what Parker Brailsford is going to be in his year 2 at Alabama, his year 3 as a starter, and his year 4 as a college football player.
Here's a couple of things that are funny. Number 1, Parker Brailsford, I think, has a pretty good chance to come back next year, whereas Caden Proctor doesn't. And I feel like that's weird that you have him ahead of him. But I also think it's correct that he's more important specifically this year because we have a new quarterback. So I think the center quarterback dynamic is very important. Now, the quarterback left tackle dynamic, assuming it's a right-handed quarterback, is also very important. Don't get me wrong. But I think this particular year, to have a center that can call out the blocking schemes, that can maybe help chill out the quarterback when he needs to, that the quarterback can feel like, hey, he's not going to Seth McLaughlin some of these snaps back to me.
Right.
I'm not trying to be rude to Seth because he ended up being an All-American. I'm just saying there was a problem there. He had the yips for whatever reason, and that definitely affected Jalen Milroe. So I feel like, the quarterback center dynamic this year is more important than the Caden Proctor quarterback dynamic.
Yeah, what set him apart for me and why I have Parker just one spot. I mean, out of 82 players, I got one at 3 and one at 4. It's not exactly like there's a gulf separating. But what separated him for me just simply on the field in college football games, I think Parker has been a better player than Caden so far.
That's fair.
Better player in terms of consistency from snap to snap. Now, I fully believe this fall, Caden may leapfrog him and prove to be not just as consistent, but dominating. I mean, just the best left tackle in the SEC. I'm not even sure Parker will be the best center in the SEC just because, again, it's a loaded position this year. Several teams in the league have really good centers. But I do think Parker is also a leader. So is Caden. I won't be shocked if these are the two captains on offense. Now, I think it's going to be Caden and a skill player, but it might be Caden and Parker. And I would be fine with that. Parker Brailsford is considered a major leader on this team. He's a real mature guy. And again, year 4 playing college football, year 3 as a starter, year 2 at Alabama. We're going to see a better Parker Brailsford than we saw last year too, which is saying quite a bit. He was good last year.
He might have the best opportunity to win an offensive award on this crew. What's the center award again? I forget.
The Remington Award. Remington Award. Yeah.
But think about it. I mean, Ryan Williams, as much as you and I love him and wouldn't trade him for the world, I mean, Jeremiah Smith's going to probably win that award.
Yeah, he's he would be the favorite for sure for the award.
Then Ty Simpson's. I mean, I think you and I both were really high on him, but he's not going to win the QB award. No, Jam Miller. I think one of the DBs could have a shot. Well, no, I'm saying on the offensive side, though.
Oh, the offensive side of the ball. No, I would think almost no question. Oh, Proctor could be in the running for the Lombardi. The line of scrimmage offensive guy. Barrett Jones won it, I think, at Alabama. I think Caden Proctor at Leatherwood. I think
that's a chance.
Shocking. Yeah, I think he's got a chance. But I'm with you. I think Brailsford has the best chance. He's truly an all-star. Again, to me, all Pac-12 is playing like an all-SEC player here, and I think there's a good chance, and since now we have a first, second, and third team, real good chance that he's going to be all-SEC in his year here at Alabama. And I'm going to hope he comes back for a 5th season of college football because, his draft stock won't be super high due to size. I hope he comes back selfishly, but my feeling will be that this is going to be it for Parker because, again, when the only knock on you is something you can't really fix, it makes sense to go ahead and go like a David Palmer when it's like, well, he's not a first-round pick because he doesn't run a 4.4. It's not like he was going to learn how to do that between his junior and senior year. He is what he is, right? So I think with Parker, if the only knock on him is he's a little undersized, well, he's not going to fix that. So I would understand if he moved on.
Yeah. But with NIL and everything else, there may be an opportunity there. And, it may be one of those things. He may just get some feedback like you could improve a little. And, you can get your name out there a little more, then you can win a Remington and stuff like that. And that's not nothing.
Yeah, and be clearly a team captain. If he's not one this year, it would clearly be if he came back
a first-team All-American.
And a major candidate to win the Remington and stuff like that. So, yeah, there's selling points for sure. And like I said, best case scenario is day 2 anyway. And that's best case scenario. I would say 3rd round, based on positional value and size. So, yeah, you definitely have the opportunity to talk to him about returning. It's not like the old days when kids, I'm not making this up, kids literally used to turn pro because they needed badly something like $10,000 or $15,000. I mean, that's happened. That used to happen. Now it doesn't happen at all. It's one of the great things about NIL and now rev share is these kids that are having economic emergencies at home it can now be addressed without having to enter the draft before you should.
Talking a little game time now. We've all been there, where you're logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping like some kind of weirdo. That's where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, so you can save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. If you're tired of endless scrolling, trying to find the best deal, Game Time's Zone Deals pick the best seats in your section for you. Take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply because they apply to everything. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, and that's a Jimmy Stein guarantee. You've been guaranteeing a lot lately. So NFL getting started Thursday. Lions and the Chargers. So it'll be, technically it's Najee Harris and Jahmyr Gibbs and J-Mo and some other dudes, and none of those guys will probably play.
If you're a starter, you're probably not playing in this first game, but you'll get to see them on the sidelines in their ball caps and their jerseys with on over warm-up pants or shorts. But there's like multiple Chargers. As a matter of fact, when I was looking through the list, I came up with y'all might have seen the tweet, 72 former Alabama players in NFL camp. 72, which is amazing when you consider what 53, 56 make up a roster. Alabama's got way more than a whole roster of guys in the in training camp. And when I was going through the list, I was still surprised to see something like, for instance, for the Chargers, I knew Najee was their new running back. I knew Bradley Bozeman is a contender to be their starting center, and I knew J.K. Scott was their punter. What I didn't know is Deshaun Hand is there. Justin Oboigbe is there.
Ooh,
so
okay.
Several Chargers, and of course Lions. What's interesting about the Alabama contingent with Detroit is they're all such significant players. It's like some of Detroit's best players are Alabama guys. Jahmyr Gibbs and J-Mo on offense. Brian Branch, on defense is one of their very best defenders. And I believe Terrion Arnold is a young star cornerback in that league. So the Lions' significant players are Alabama guys, maybe a little less so with the Chargers. So we could see some of these Bammers like
Terrion may play.
Terrion could play. I think a Justin Oboigbe will play for the Chargers. You probably want your punter out there. I wouldn't be surprised to see J.K. Scott, punt some. So there's enough of a reason to watch just because, hey, it's 2025 football on the field for the first time. These are the 2025 versions of the Chargers and Lions, and I'm excited about it. And then, of course, it'll be a full week later. Then the full all 32 NFL teams will be out there. And that first game on NFL Network the following Thursday is Ravens Colts with a lot of Alabama players, and you're more likely to see starters in the actual week one. You'll see maybe play a series or two, Marlon Humphrey and the normal Ravens. And I'm interested in even some non-Alabama guys, like for instance the Colts. Everyone's talking about Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones compete for that starting quarterback job. How about Fair-Ups Riley Leonard being the Colts' third quarterback? He's probably going to play quite a bit in that Ravens-Colts game.
What an athlete he is. But, speaking of athletes, Jalen Milroe is raising eyebrows in Seattle. There are some people who listen to this that just don't believe it. They're not going to buy into it. I've already seen some comments about how some folks are like, hey, once he gets in a game, he'll start making mistakes. He could. But
don't they all?
Yeah, don't they all? When he's throwing the ball in Seattle right now at practice, he is getting oohs and ahs, and I'm here for it. I'm happy for it.
Oh yeah, I'm thrilled, and I'm not surprised. I wouldn't say that I bet on it, but I'm not surprised. Milroe has so many. He has some traits that are, like I said, I call them A+ traits. Sometimes you have this box. You're like, okay, do you check the box? With Milroe, with some of the things, it's A+. He's got A+ athleticism. He's got the size. And when it comes down to, I've always compared Milroe to Hurts. I always think they're sort of similar. Of course, Hurts went in the second round. Milroe went in the third. But one of the reasons I think Jalen Hurts made this transition so well is he's an amazing athlete. He's a great athlete. And that's what it takes in the NFL. Amazing athletes. And that's a great way to describe Jalen Milroe. Now, there's more to play in the quarterback position. We know. But he's got a lot of experience now at Alabama. He's been taught by multiple high-level coaches. I mean, Bill O'Brien, Tommy Rees, who's an OC, in the NFL, and the DeBoer staff. I mean, Milroe's had some good coaching. He's had some good experience, and there's no doubt as to some of the physical skills. So I'm not surprised he's doing well. I hope people don't get carried away and think that he can beat out Sam Darnold. I find that very unlikely. But I hope that Milroe shows them enough to where they're like, hey, when we move on from Darnold, we think we have our guy. That would be awesome. If it's just that would be awesome.
It is funny. Some kind of Locked On Seahawks, not exactly Locked On Seahawks, but something like that, had a TikTok or a tweet or a MySpace. I don't know. I don't keep up with everything. One of those things where he said, Milroe is playing so well in practice, he's worried that fans will begin to dislike Sam Darnold because they want to see Milroe. And boy, that is such a good way to put it. Doesn't that happen so often when
the shiniest new toy? The shiny new toy.
The greatest example in Alabama history is Brian Bergdorf and Jay Barker. That's true. Everybody's like, well, Barker only threw for 17 yards in the national championship game. Yeah, but he won it. And Bergdorf looks like $1 million in practice. The problem was when he got in the game, he didn't so much. So, anyway.
I mean, a lot of older fans will remember, but younger fans won't. But yeah, even Jay Barker, after setting all these school records, being a 5th round pick in the NFL draft, fans were more excited about moving on and seeing the next guy. And in retrospect, there's no doubt that Jay Barker was a far superior quarterback in the college game to Brian Bergdorf.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Who was MVP? Wasn't Bergdorf MVP for beating North Carolina? Yeah. He beat North Carolina in a bowl game. Was it the Gator Bowl? Yeah, I think that's right. He beat North Carolina and won MVP, which just kind of fed the he was a dual threat guy, just kind of fed the beast a little bit.
Boy, I don't even remember which new bowl is the former Gator Bowl now. That's how all these sponsorships.
There's still a Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, but who knows who the sponsors tend to change every year. And I think there's still an SEC tie there. Alabama's never been close to being involved with, mostly because Saban had us in the playoff every other year, and not in the playoff. Then you're in the top bowl game that's not in the playoff, like the Citrus Bowl.
All right, that's going to do it for today's pod. We'll be back tomorrow with more and with Bear Fritwell. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.